How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on how to become a better AR player or an assault rifle player with those long range gunfights and knowing how to make the most of it so you can benefit yourself, to drop some high kills and also to give your teammates some good support as well. So we're going to be covering everything today from sort of positioning, how you can play in different game modes, gun skill, pretty much everything and a lot more as well. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video and we'll get straight into it now. So, to become a good AR player, you want to look at somebody like Formal or Arstes or maybe Clayster. That's assuming that you watch sort of the COD League and sort of pro players. So I'd recommend watching some of them to get some tips on how to sort of play like them as well. But do that after you've watched this video, of course. But some of the key points I'd say for becoming a good AR player, obviously you're going to be playing a little bit slower compared to being like an aggressive SMG player. So you want to be sort of on point with your positioning. So this means where you're going to put yourself. You want to get yourself in power positions around the map so you can hold down multiple lines of sight and just give your teammates some support and just wreak havoc on your enemies. And then another key point would be your gun skill. Obviously you're going to be needing to be good with an assault rifle at this range because you're going to be taking out the longer range players such as the other ARs or the sniper players as well. So just come to terms of using ARs. Obviously in this game it's all about the STG-44 at the moment, but also the automaton is a really good one as well, so they're nice, easy to handle as well once you've leveled them up. And also you want to get good at holding angles, so knowing where to put yourself to watch enemy crosses and stuff like that, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. That's just some of the key points out of the way. So before we get into some of the tips, I just wanted to talk about some of the roles of a main AR player. Now, mainly you're going to be holding down those power positions, as I said previously. So what this means is to hold down an area of the map where you have multiple lines of sight and you can sort of dominate that whole area. Really important in sort of games like Hardpoint and Search. In Hardpoint, this might be watching over the hardpoint whilst your teammate are on it, so you can give them some support fire. And also just it's always a good idea to have a little bit of elevation. It's not a bad idea. I have got a full video on power positions on my channel. We'll be having part 2 very soon, so make sure you go check that out for some ideas. But mainly it's just a place where you can dominate the enemies from and drop some nice kills. And then of course it depends on the game mode, but something like a hard point, you're going to be watching over the hills and try and cut off the enemy team's rotations. So knowing where the next hill is going to be in hard point is key. Obviously you can put yourself in a position where you can cut them off as they're rotating. You can also make a nice early rotation yourself as well as the AR player and put yourself on the hard point. If you sort of know where the enemy are pushing from, know where to expect to aim as well. And of course in Search and Destroy it's a little bit different where you can hold down a lane of the map and watch over the bombs rather than you pushing up and trying to plant. You can leave that to your sort of more aggressive SMG players because then you can give them some support fire and just make sure you're communicating with your team as well to let them know if you see any enemies. Now in respawn game modes it's a good idea to hold the spawns for your team, so if you hang back a little bit and watch over the battlefield then you're going to be able to let your team spawn near you as well due to the spawns in this game, and this also links to sort of making the play for the next hill in the hard point like I mentioned earlier. Another sort of role of an AR player would be to learn the lines of the sight on each map. Now this is important because you'll know where you can pre-aim to let the enemies literally walk straight into your bullets, as you can see in this clip here in the background. I knew those guys were spawning over there, so I thought screw it, let's just hold this angle, wait for them to push up and we can take them out nice and easy. This is going to be a big advantage for your team because you're not letting the enemies push and flank around the back of you as well. And like I said before, if you hold down lanes and keep an eye for any enemy, you can use this for information and you can use this to make plays and let your team know so they can also make plays as well. So you're acting like kind of like a recon for your team, whereas you're giving them information and stuff like that. So it's a good idea to sort of keep your eyes open and stay peeled. And then just one more as well, you don't always have to push into objectives as an AR player. So like I said, hang back a little bit and you can take them out from a distance. So now that we've covered some of the roles of an AR player, we're going to get on some of the tips now. So movement obviously is important in these newer Call of Duties with the slide cancels and the jump shots, but as an AR player it's not the most important thing. Obviously you always want to have a good movement because it'll just benefit you in the long run, but unless you're an SMG player you don't really need to be skating around the map, sliding through every door and stuff like that, because as an AR player you're going to play a little bit slower. But one movement I would say to get used to doing is keeping movement in your long range gunfights. So if you strafe side to side and you can crouch in and out of cover as well, this is going to become a really beneficial thing to do when you're fighting against other long range AR players and snipers, as it makes you a harder target to hit, and anything that can benefit you is a huge win in this game, simply because of how fast you die due to the STGs and stuff. So yeah, keep moving in your long range gunfights. Now you want to get comfortable with mounting as well, because it's going to give you super good accuracy at long range. I'm sure you all know this already, but you can move whilst you're mounted in this game, which you couldn't back in Modern Warfare and Warzone. So it's a good idea to get used to doing that as well. And then also sort of using the breakable surfaces in this game, and the doors is huge, because you can shoot out a little bit of a piece of wood and then you can sit in it and create your own head glitch essentially. So you can use this to create very much off angles inside your power positions, and it's going to keep the enemies guessing essentially, because they're not going to know where to aim, especially if it's just a little gap inside of the wood window or door, for example. Now, using your map is a huge advantage as well. I do have a full video on this on my channel as well, but if you can understand how the spawns work and figure out when they sort of flip around in the respawn game modes like hardpoint, you can put yourself in a good spot to hold them, and you know which angles to hold as they're running. So you can figure this out by sort of looking where your teammates are on the map, looking where there's no blue triangles, so you can kind of figure out that there's going to be enemies in that sort of direction. Use this knowledge then to put yourself somewhere to just literally pre-aim and take them out. Some people call it camping, but you know, it's just holding angles at the end of the day. Now, last but not least, we're going to talk about repositioning. So you need to know when to reposition. So say you've got a room locked down where you're taking out enemies a lot. You call this like a power position, as we always mention, but it's a good idea to know when to move from there. So an example of this would be when the spawns flip. So if they're coming from behind you, you need to find yourself in a new spot. Or, you know, in hardpoint or something like that, when the objective changes, you put yourself somewhere else. Or even just if you start getting pushed by all of them. So say you're on like a big kill streak, they're going to start to get annoyed and start charging you. So you want to sort of move yourself out of there and find somewhere else to sit. And I literally just thought of one more on the spot, so I may as well give you a little bonus tip here. Good idea to keep moving around your spot whilst you're there. So if you're in a room, don't keep sitting in the same window or doorway, because you're going to get taken out. Rather, you'd rotate around that room and sort of peek from different spots. So this is going to keep your opponents guessing once again and give you some multiple lines of sight on them. So guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Do let me know if you did in the comments down below. Also let me know you enjoyed it by dropping me a like, subscribe and more, because it really does help out the channel. We're so close to 500 subs. I haven't quite figured out what we're going to do for it yet, but we'll do something special, because I do appreciate you guys a lot. But let me know what sort of Vanguard content you'd like to see. We're going to keep on grinding every day now until the release of the new Warzone map. Then we're going to make this sort of turn back to Warzone, I think. We'll still play a little bit of Vanguard. It depends on what you guys want to see. So it's important that you let me know in the comments below or on Twitter and the DMs as well. So thank you all for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.